where we are. At Brent's. Waiting for the gate to be open.
Yeah.
Just saying where we're at.
What are we doing?
We're gonna finish, hopefully, our gas tank.
Yeah, we'll see. It's a lot to do, but we got the box for the fuel cell built, and I have a dual filler neck that a buddy shipped to me from Australia. So we have a lot of the parts. It's still a lot of work to do to finish up, but hoping we can get it done. I removed all the plastic surrounds around the filler neck here. You can see it goes just behind the inner fender well and down into the main tank. This is the dual filler neck, which I was very happy to score from Australia. It's got a little butterfly valve on the inside that I took apart just to make sure it's in good working order that directs the fuel either to the front or the rear tank. It's all operated off of this little lever you can see here.
Oh no, so the guy that Bandito's got.
Alright, little update. Dual filler neck, fits right in. In fact, there's a factory bolt hole that worked. Just found a metric bolt to go in there. All fits pretty nicely, and here's our custom tank. So one mount here, two mounts there on a piece of plate, another mount up here. Looks like it's gonna work pretty okay. So now we just gotta put the inlet and the vent over here and get a piece to connect to the original main tank here. So far so good.
This is a crazy paint job.
The disco buggy. For a pickup? Well, that's hot.
Welding equals heat.
Right here. Just in case, I wanted to point that out to everyone. Should we weld on a pickup? Well or no? Wait.
Oh, it's close.
It is close. Bend that out. A little one, huh? You're gonna make it so it looks now? The auxiliary tank was a tight fit. As you can see here, we had to nudge it into place with a BFH. I told you. If I didn't know better, I'd almost think you planned it.
It's like factory. Now I gotta sell you hose too.
Yeah, I know. Man, you didn't know how much of a money-making operation this was going to be.
Yeah. Somebody's retired early.
Yeah. We headed to the hardware store for some hose and then the auto parts store for some decent micron filters to make sure none of the slag from the new tank got into the main fuel system.
Assuming it's carbureted.
Yeah, it's an auxiliary tank, so it doesn't really matter. It's essentially it's just
Not too high PSI.
nah. I'm just gonna essentially have a transfer pump that pumps it into the main tank, and just want to make sure I don't bring any crap over with it. It was finally time to clean up the tank and get it ready for powder coat.
coat, and every time I've done it on my exhaust, it was a waste of money. Oh, really?
Beautiful. This part was a bit terrifying. I drilled a hole into the lower part of the filler neck that leads to the main tank. This is where the transfer pump will pump fuel into from the auxiliary tank. I didn't want to screw this up since the dual filler neck isn't something I can easily replace.
No, it doesn't, because I haven't.
Finally, time for us to mount it up permanently. It feels like it took forever to get to this stage. The tank fits almost dead flush with the frame rails, making it pretty high and tight as far as getting abuse from rocks goes.
Almost dropped it.
What you see here is the simple transfer pump and filter that'll pump the fuel into the main tank.
So we're near Sasko, Arizona, and did our first dirt. The new gas tank lasted a good 8 hours before it hit dirt.
Yeah.
We finished it last night.
It's not leaking. Yeah, we finished it last night. So, you know, something like a gas tank, it's always kind of sensitive. Obviously, it can't leak. That's its main job. So, there was one hose clamp that was a little bit loose right next to the transfer pump, and we caught that in a parking lot before we left town. So, tighten that up, and everything's nice and dry, and we've been bouncing around off-road. So, so far so good. But we went over to explore.
Got a nice tire.
Yeah, we got a tire. We're going to do a tire plugging video. So somebody had asked for that, so hopefully you guys enjoy that. But this is a General Grabber race tire, but as you can see, it's not too much use. But my friend Brent's not a big fan of these. I guess he was getting a lot of flats with them, so he gave it to us so we can at least use it for that. But we went to check out Sasko, the Southern Arizona Smelting Company. It's an old smelter that serviced all the mines around here. And it's kind of a cool area. I checked it out maybe 15 years ago, and it was pretty complete. But we drove through there, and it was pretty trashed. It's trash everywhere. There's people shooting right now, paintball. So, I don't know. It's kind of a bummer. So I decided not to really go in and check it out. Figured we'd just get away from all that craziness and get up here. It's just too easy to access. So if you're ever in Southern Arizona, it's right off the Red Rock exit off the I-10 freeway, and it's just a little bit too easy to get to, unfortunately. So it's been overrun with people and trash.
Yeah, it's all graffitied, and it's kind of a bummer, but
5 miles away, here we are, kind of up, beautiful spot away from people, and there's still some old mining remains up here and some old pads for houses and things like that out of rock. So
and then cool. You said if you keep going up this road, you hit the Silver Bell mine.
I think it's called Silver Bell, but yeah, it's an active mine now, so there's a fence and you
it.
can't get in and check it out. But this area's got a lot of history to it, so this is sort of the end of desert season, or beginning of desert season, excuse me, here in Arizona. So it's starting to cool down enough where this is actually nice instead of just dying of heat stroke.
Sweaty.
Time to play with the drone. We have been so busy with projects, we haven't had much time to get used to this new toy. So every time we find ourselves off-road, we can't wait to fly it.
Alright, first fill up the dual tank. Come on over a little bit, I'll show you. So the little butterfly valve in there, you just have to pull that out, and now we're filling the auxiliary tank. So, assuming there's no leaks, we've done an okay job. So we put like 1.5 gallons into it right after we finished building it, just to make sure everything was okay and all the breather fittings were all right. But this is the first sort of fill up of it. The butterfly valve in there, I've heard that it doesn't securely, and I pulled it apart to take a look at it, it doesn't securely put 100% of the fluid into one tank or the other. So people will fill up their auxiliary tank and think it holds more than it really does, because a little bit right now is probably going into the main tank. It's just a metal flap in there that tries to direct it, and most of it goes into the proper tank, but I won't assume exactly what the capacity is based off of this. I think the only way to do it would be to run tanks, both of them completely dry, and then just take the cumulative total, because we know the main tank is 24 gallons OEM. So. 17 gallons.
No drips.
Okay, so that's pretty good. So we're at 17.8, and we had put at least a gallon and a half in there. So if a little bit got into the main tank, plus we had a gallon in there, I think our 18 is fairly accurate. So, as you can see, it's not permanent right now, but I just wired it in really simply. Until we get the correct switch for a sub tank instead of rear lights, I just use this instead. But I just wired it into a constant power source in the fuse box. And it's just a single wire running through this. I'll do a second wire for light on the switch, because I was thinking having it light up might be kind of helpful to remind me that it's running, because I don't know if the camera will pick that up. We'll go ahead and walk over. But it's really quiet when it's pumping fuel, but it's really noisy once it starts to pump air. So it's really hard to hear that up in the truck, unless the truck's off like it is right now. But when it's pumping air, you'll definitely notice it, because it gets very loud. So I do want to have a light just to kind of have it be a dummy switch to remind me. So that's it. So far so good. We did have a leak at the gas station though. Once I filled it right up to the brim, a couple of drops were coming out. So I think one of the breather lines, maybe the hose clamp's not on quite tight enough. So we got to chase that down. But it was only when we got right to the brimming top, and I think maybe I overfilled it. So still don't want to have that happen. But otherwise, really happy. So I think it holds a full 18 gallons, which is good to me. It doesn't hang down at all. I don't know if you can see that from the angle here, but see if you can kind of show them. That was one of my goals, is to really make it tuck. I think we could have let it hang down more and still not had it really be an issue off-roading, but I do love that it actually is flush with the frame rails, so other things should hit first, like the rear bumper, before we hit it. So, yeah. So thanks for watching our videos, and if you like them,
Subscribe and share.
hey, there you go. You can also support us on Patreon if you'd like to, but if not, no worries. Thanks for watching.
Bye.